So we look at these responses. There's the fight response, the flight, right, the running away, the freezing. Fawning is something we've been talking a lot about lately, where people will try to win over the person that they're afraid of. And attachment issues come up, where people become very, very needy. I need you, I need you, I need you. You know, that insecurity comes out. Or where they become very, very withdrawn. So these are all trauma responses. And people don't need to be further traumatized when they're having a trauma response. They need to be reassured. They need to be encouraged. They need to be comforted. So if you look at the difference between a trauma response and a behavioral response, you know, a trauma response is where someone is easily triggered and it's not rational and you don't understand. That behavioral response, or that volitional response, right, has purpose and intent. And if we think about the issues that a lot of people have, how many of them are sitting around calculating? Usually they're being triggered and something just reacts. So in a trauma response, we often see an overreaction to a small event. And that response, that overreaction, is a sign that yellow part of the brain has been triggered. And it doesn't serve the person well. Oftentimes after a trauma response, people are apologizing over and over. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and they're full of shame. Versus when they're having a deliberate, intentional response, then they've accomplished a goal. Then there's a satisfaction. It's moved them forward. Big difference. Now let's think about the folks we support. How many times do we see them satisfied with something they did versus how many times do you see shame? I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I know, I had bad behaviors, I know. We see that much more, right? Let's think about our own responses. If you think about your last bad behavior, right? I know you're all very virtuous people, wonderful people, and virtuous in your actions, but you might be able to think of something that you did that maybe wasn't the best thing. Maybe you did it a couple weeks ago, maybe it was months ago. Think about that thing. And I'm going to ask you, was it number 1 or number 2? Were you upset and maybe